Hi, my name is Yevgeny and I'm a designer by day and developer by night. And during the days, I work full-time for a company providing data-heavy enterprise solutions to our clients, where we have to present a lot of data grids with data. The data grid we have chosen to work with is AG Grid, as it is simply the most powerful and best JavaScript grid in the world. Also for this demonstration, I will be using AG Grid, as its library is both sophisticated and complex. So to get started, we will import an instance of AG-Grid from the official community library file. Just before doing so, I like to make a few configurations, like removing the floating filter and setting the density to compact, just to get some more data into our grid for the demonstration purposes. Just before we get started, I would set the grid up with a few more columns and maybe also remove the filter bar here for the demonstration. I will do that really quickly and then we will get to the plugins functionality. Good. Now that we have set up our grid, it is time to apply our data to it. What I would like to do is I would like to apply this quite realistic financial data to the grid, as it is something I can imagine to present to my clients. The reason for that is simple, that when we present our designs to our clients, stakeholders and other reviewers, it is beneficial to show realistic data in order so the viewer is not distracted. Therefore, what I would like to do is to take this data set and put it into my AG grid. One thing I would like to note is that professional libraries like AG Grid have very complex and nicely composed components which we would like to leverage and not detach. For example, our table headers here have multiple properties we would like to take advantage of. So what we could do in order to apply our data is go cell by cell and set this data property to the value of our need. But what our plugin allows us to do is exactly this operation in bulk. So what we will do now is we will launch our plugin and start applying our data to our grid. Once we have our plugin up, it will tell us in the first step that we have to wrap our grid into a frame called Magic Box. The reason for that is that if you have multiple grids on the same page, this Magic Box boundary tells the plugin where to apply the data to. What I like to do is to wrap the lowest possible level of the grid into the so-called Magic Box in order for the plugin to run through just a little bit faster. Now where that is done, let us select one of our column headers and utilize the plugin to find all the column headers in the grid. Once it is done, we get a little feedback here showing that 10 columns and 1 row have been recognized, and the correct text property called data as well, which is a great start. What we can do next is we can go into our Google Sheets and simply copy the cell headers which we would like to use and paste them here from the clipboard and apply to the grid. Now, as you can see, we have directly set all of our table headers and can proceed to set the table cells. All we have to do is to find a cell which is representative of our grid cells, and the only thing it needs to have is the same name as all other cells. Next, we will let the plugin find all cells in the grid with the same name, and now we get our feedback that it has recognized 10 columns times 28 rows. Great! All we have to do now is to go into our spreadsheet, and this operation can be done with Excel, with Google Sheets, any spreadsheet software you have. You can simply copy your cells and rows, paste them into the field for the clipboard, and apply to your grid. And within seconds, your grid will be using these realistic values you have passed to it without your need to touch any single cell manually. Aside from the clipboard functionality, we can also directly upload CSV files in order to populate our grid cells. All we need to do is to select the file we would like to use, and now if you see closer to the values, they will get changed to the values I have passed them with my file. Voila, our grid now uses new values. Last remaining thing I would like to note is that if for some reason you decide to use text properties directly because maybe you are using another grid than AG Grid, maybe you have detached your cells because you have your reasons, this also works. And it works in the same way as it does with our text properties. All you need to do is to select a text node which is representative of the data in your grid, which also has to share the name with others, and hit find all matching cells. Now, once that is done, our operation remains the same. We can simply select our data we would like to use, either use the clipboard or a file upload, and apply it to our grid. And what this will do is it will directly set the values of these text fields within your whole grid to the values you have passed. And that is it. I can imagine to add more features to the plugin in future, but I do not want to get ahead of myself. I would rather like to wait for your feedback and suggestions, and based on that, we will make the Starter Grid Master even more powerful in future. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope this plugin saves you as much time as it saves for me and my colleagues. I wish you a great day, and thank you again. Bye bye.